When Roland Emmerich's 2012 hit theaters in 2009, it delivered a jaw-dropping visual spectacle of epic natural disasters that destroyed landmarks, cities, and entire continents. But how did the makers bring the cinematic apocalypse to life on screen, and what made these scenes so terrifyingly real? In this video, we're pulling back the curtain to show you how Roland Emmerich and his team tell the story about the end of the world. Let's start. Okay, so let's kick off with one of the film's early nail-biting moments in the movie when Kate and Gordon are shopping inside a supermarket, completely unaware that disaster is just seconds away. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake violently and split apart right beneath their feet. On screen, the chaos looks hauntingly real, but what we don't see is how this sequence is carefully crafted in two major parts. Before the shooting began, the entire scene was first pre-visualized. It's a digital blueprint which was designed to help every crew member visualize exactly what the director had in mind. From the camera movements to the actors blocking and the earthquake's intensity, everything was meticulously planned in advance. For the indoor portion of the sequence, a mini supermarket set was constructed inside a studio. Grocery racks, lighting, and aisles were built to scale. To simulate the cracking earth and actors losing balance, both Kate and Gordon were placed on movable gimbals, mechanical platforms capable of shaking and tilting at various angles. Behind them, prop shelves were mounted so they could shake and fall realistically. As the crew pulled and manipulated the gimbals, the actors were forced to stumble, grabbing onto nearby fixtures, which led to completely genuine reactions of panic and fear. Later, in post-production, CGI and VFX were used to add the massive fissures, collapsing floor tiles, and environmental destruction, creating the full illusion of the earth splitting open. As the threat becomes more imminent, Jackson realizes that California is about to collapse. He races to escape with his ex-wife Kate, her boyfriend Gordon, and their children, driving through a chaotic earthquake scene en route to the mini aircraft which was rented earlier by Jackson. This high-stakes chase sequence is one of the most complex in the film. The first part of the scene shows Kate's house being destroyed. Interestingly, the entire house wasn't real. The structure was created using blue screen techniques, and its collapse was entirely added through CGI in post-production, as you can see in this behind-the-scenes video on your screen. To heighten the realism even more, the team created a giant motion-controlled gimbal platform right after the blue screen house scene. It was designed by Roland Emmerich's production crew. This rig was a beast built to mimic real seismic movements. It could tilt sideways, drop suddenly, and shake violently, simulating the unpredictable nature of an actual earthquake. This set was built in an open location, as you can see in this BDS. This platform had actual road pieces, lawn sections, and fragmented home structures mounted on it. Beneath it, heavy-duty hydraulic actuators created real-time shockwaves and tilt. This allowed actors to physically feel the motion, delivering genuine performances of panic and imbalance exactly as required in such high-stakes sequences. In the same sequence, the car chase scene between earthquakes was also shot in an open area. For this scene, a stretch of road was recreated with blue screens on both sides of the road. The actors were seated in a real car to simulate the chaos of the scenes, with practical effects like minor road obstacles, broken pipes, and debris placed on the road. The behind-the-scenes footage shows how the car was maneuvered over these obstacles while actors gave fear-filled performances. Everything in the background, including the collapsing roads, tumbling buildings, and clouds of dust, was added digitally later. The scenes with falling cars and building debris were shot using a mix of practical effects and CGI. For realism, some vehicles were actually launched using rigs, cranes, and machines and smashed on set before being enhanced with visual effects. VFX teams collected match move data, capturing camera angles and movements from the live-action shots. This allowed them to recreate the same camera movements inside 3D environments. Using this data, artists digitally constructed crumbling roads, flying debris, and shattered lampposts and layered them seamlessly with the live-action footage. In this jaw-dropping sequence, Jackson travels to Yellowstone to meet Charlie Frost. As he drives back, the Yellowstone caldera explodes violently, sending lava bombs and pyroclastic clouds hurtling into the sky, and a bomb hits his van and burns from the back. The moment Jackson races away in his van was filmed on a gimbal-mounted platform inside a blue screen stage. The van was physically mounted on this moving rig, allowing it to tilt, vibrate, and jolt, mimicking the impact of explosions and shockwaves. Flames and smoke machines were used around the set to amplify the intensity, giving the scene a gritty and fiery realism. One of the highlights of the sequence is when Jackson's van jumped over a broken earth gap when he was returning to his family. While it looks like pure CGI, the jump was actually performed on a practical set. A real ramp was painted blue to blend with the digital environment. It was set up so that the van could be launched, giving the scene a realistic physical weight and momentum before the digital enhancements took over. Jackson and his family escape California just in time, boarding a small plane as the ground collapses beneath them. The takeoff sequence was partially filmed on an actual mini runway where the crew captured close-up shots of the aircraft starting to move. But once the plane lifts off, the entire destruction scene becomes a digital masterpiece. Using state-of-the-art CGI, the VFX artists created towering, collapsing buildings, exploding power lines, and fissures tearing through the city. The turbulence scene as the plane lifts into the air was simulated using digital models and motion graphics, making the audience feel the intense urgency of that takeoff. From the air, viewers witnessed entire neighborhoods and cities being swallowed by tsunamis. These aerial shots of large-scale devastation were all completely crafted in post-production using water simulations, crumbling infrastructure, and massive city environments rendered in full 3D. This scene is a true testament to how CGI can make the impossible feel real. When Jackson visits the restricted area and talks to Charlie Frost, massive lava bombs begin erupting in the distance, turning the calm into chaos. To create this, the filmmakers use a combination of live-action miniature sets and VFX. A rocky plateau set was built using real sand and gravel. Blue screens surrounded the set, allowing the team to composite volcanic eruptions later on. Actors performed on this terrain to ground their reactions in realism. The VFX team later added digital lava bombs, glowing molten fragments, thick smoke, and ash clouds, syncing them with the live-action plates using motion tracking and compositing. This seamless merge of physical and digital elements helped deliver a scene that was as thrilling as it was believable. In a deeply emotional sequence, President Wilson delivers his final address to the nation. Moments later, he's seen among the people caught in the chaos as tsunamis and earthquakes strike. The entire scene was constructed on an outdoor set constructed in an open area designed to resemble a typical Los Angeles suburb. Houses, front lawns, and cars were all built practically. Controlled effects like wet-down trucks, low-flood pools, and high-pressure water jets created the illusion of rising water. To mimic a storm, wind machines and smoke rigs added tension and urgency. In post-production, VFX artists added digital rain, rising water levels, and atmospheric effects like glowing reflections and transparency layering. These fine details helped sell the realism of a massive natural disaster unfolding in real time, adding weight to the president's final courageous moments. One of the most emotionally intense and visually massive moments in 2012 is when thousands of desperate people stand outside the enormous ARC ships in China begging for entry. It's only after Helmsley's moving plea that the gates finally open, allowing humanity one last chance at survival. What looks like a colossal real-world structure on screen was actually filmed entirely inside a studio using a mix of practical effects, hydraulic rigs, and digital visual effects. To simulate the giant metal gates of the ark opening, a crew built a partial section of the door. This gave the illusion of a functioning massive mechanism. Only about 10 to 15 feet of the actual door was real. The rest of the towering ark walls and crowd environment were digitally extended using VFX. As Jackson, Kate, and the kids make their way inside the ark, the scene transitions into a multi-level interior set built specifically for the film. This elaborate set was built of steel stairs, wide walkways, reinforced railings, and realistic industrial surfaces. Everything was built to give a sense of enormity and functionality as if it were part of a real evacuation ship. When the ark's main gate fails to close in time, water begins surging into the ship in one of the film's most dramatic and technically challenging scenes. To shoot this, the team created a flood stage, which is a sealed, watertight studio set rigged with high-pressure water cannons and pumps. Water was blasted into the space in timed bursts, mimicking a real-life emergency flood situation. The flooring was intentionally built with a downward slope, allowing water to flow naturally toward the actors, building tension. Meanwhile, red blinking lights and sirens were used on set to simulate panic and claustrophobia. In this scene, John Cusack, Amanda Peet, and the child actors performed with real water crashing around them, sometimes up to waist height. For safety, actors were trained with underwater rehearsals and scenes were broken into short takes. Later, CGI was added to extend the flooding waterline, insert outside ocean shots, and layer in floating debris, emergency lighting effects, and digital panic crowds. It's a sequence that captures both visual skill and emotional urgency, crafted through an intricate marriage of practical ingenuity and post-production brilliance. One of the most poetic and heartbreaking visuals in the film is the small Buddhist temple scene where a monk calmly rings his bell atop a mountain sanctuary as a towering tsunami surges toward him. What feels deeply spiritual and emotionally grand was actually created using a combination of miniatures, blue screen, and digital ocean simulation. The production team built a 1:10 scale model of the temple, complete with miniature stone textures, flags, and monks carved with stunning detail. This miniature was then placed inside a studio against a large blue screen where cameras captured various angles and lighting conditions. Later in post-production, VFX artists created the massive tsunami waves, surging vertical water columns, and falling mist with terrifying speed. The temple's destruction was simulated digitally, but its collapse had to feel organic, matching the miniature's real-world detail with digital motion physics. In the next scene, we shift to a different kind of intensity as we enter the ark's control center, where Hemsley and his team monitor ship systems and crowd boarding operations. This futuristic control room wasn't a digital backdrop. It was a fully built studio set located in the Vancouver lot, created with stunning attention to realism. The room was fitted with large LED panels, interactive buttons, and real-time monitor displays. The set had multiple light sources to reflect the ark's emergency lighting and gave the impression of a functioning operations center. To blend physical and digital perfectly, blue screens were placed around the control panels, allowing VFX artists to insert interactive ship schematics, animated readouts, and holographic projections in post. And that's a wrap on today's behind-the-scenes journey. We hope this gave you a brand new appreciation for all the hard work and creativity that made these unforgettable scenes come to life. So, what did you think of this behind-the-scenes breakdown, and which movies behind the scenes would you love us to cover next? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below, because we'll be reading them all. Until next time, stay curious, stay magical, and we'll see you in the next one.